for making time for us this afternoon. This is, of course, in relation to what is happening with the land sector, or specifically the lands ministry in this country. There have been talks about a stalemate between the minister and the National Lands Commission. Where are we with that?
Hussein, is a very regrettable stalemate. And I think we need to get the two institutions to understand this, that for the Land Commission, it's now 1 year since they assumed office. For the Cabinet Secretary and her Principal Secretary, it's going to 1 year since they assumed office. And what seems to have come to the public domain more is the divergence in their focus. And for sure, I think they need to listen to stakeholders and the public. They think that divergence does not add any socio-economic value to the needs of Kenyans. So it's regrettable, and I think the sooner we hear that they assist, the better. But let me put a few things across. For instance, I think it's important for the country to appreciate that the ministry to appreciate that they have promised Kenyans, for instance, through the current government, that they'll issue 3 million titles, I think, in the next 4 years. Now, that economically is a very noble promise. Now, if the divergence continues, that program will be jeopardy, and we would want to give them early notice that they will be audited on account of that promise. Then two, remember, if you're saying today, Kenya is famous for ICT innovations globally. In addition, our mobile technology penetration is probably over 50% today. Yet, a Kenyan cannot sit in Kajiado or in Mombasa or Kisumu and punch the buttons on their mobile telephone and get a search to their property. I think that program that the government has promised Kenyans to digitize and computerize systems within the lands ministry is a good one. And again, in the next 4 years, by the time they exit, they will be audited for that performance. Let me also add that the ministry again needs to appreciate that the Land Commission is not an accident in this country. It was put in place by Kenyans for the fact that there were problems from the past. So the ministry needs to be seen to welcome the commission and embrace it as a partnership for supporting the programs that the ministry seems to have promised Kenyans. But let me also come to the commission also, so that I say something about the commission. And I think as I make my comment, it's good for Kenyans to appreciate that that commission comes into place in a rather unique environment. They come in place in an institutional environment which has been existing, and they're supposed to continue operating. So one of the things I'll echo to the commission is that they need to be careful the way they enter, so that they, as much as possible, fit in without creating what you would call non-synergy within the institution. And then mention one critical thing that I think is lost to us all, and I think also sometimes to the commission, that it is not operating in a jurisdictional vacuum. The commission has been established to manage public land on behalf of county and national government. So they need to be seen to be playing the role of client to the county and national government. In other words, the priorities of county governments and the priorities of the national government ought to inform the programs of the commission. If that does not happen, then there will certainly be a conflict of priorities between the two levels of government. And then secondly, let me add that for the commission again, it's one thing that I think they need to be very careful about, because that has been partly a major problem in this country. Land allocation. To Hussein, to Ibrahim, and to Njeri or to Anyango out there. Why do you choose to give land to Hussein or Ibrahim and not Njeri or Anyango? Now that's very sensitive all the time. So the commission has to appreciate that if they do not deal with that carefully, because that's where we have come from when we had the presidency and the commission of lands allocating land exclusively, selectively. Now, they need to inject the spirit of transparency and accountability in land allocation. And if I were them today, I'd probably be telling Kenyans from the February of 2013 when I came into office to date, these are the parcels of land I've issued to the following people, and these are the reasons, this is why they are.
Is that happening? Are there any transactions being done at the moment?
I have no doubt in my mind that
with the
time they came in from the beginning to date, they have they appeal for people holding allotment letters to present them for validation. I think in the meantime, if you have been looking at the Kenya Gazette, there are allocations that may have been done in the coast. Now, the commission must run away from being seen to be opaque, because that is where the trouble will start with Kenyans. They completely must. If I were them, I would probably say for every 2 months, if I allocate land, I will put a list within the public domain so that everybody knows this is why we allocated these parcels in these places, these sizes, to these people, and these are the uses. So we justified it for the county and national government.
So clearly, according to you, there's a problem with the commission, as there's a problem with the ministry in trying to, in the current standoff.
Let me knock that by saying this, Hussein. The major problem that you have heard them talk about is one of mandate. And I can assure you that it can be very difficult in this single sitting to convince you or anybody that any one of them is right.
So what is the way forward then? I mean, what solution would you propose to them as a stakeholder in the land sector?
One, we are conscious. If you look at the Constitution, Article 67, on the functions of the Commission, you will appreciate one thing, that the Commission was given roles that are advisory, recommending, listening, and proposing. So it's not very strong for their teeth. But if you look at the statutes that emanated from the Constitution, they give the Commission some elements of implementation. Now, even without a perfect fit between the Constitution and the land laws, if the two appreciate that they have a common responsibility to serve Kenyans as a constituency on titles, on all the issues of land service delivery, they actually can do even with the current legal framework. But in the event that our request to them is not sinking, that to work together is not sinking, then we will be asking Parliament to then look at the law so that the imperfections in the law are attended to through Parliament, so that we can have legal clarity. Okay,
thank you very much. Ibrahim Mwathane, who is the chairman of the Land Development and Governance Institute. Thank you so much for making time for us, and of course we hope your